Hello guys. Thanks for coming back and checking out my videos. So today's video is going to be about so I'm gonna break this down the best I can without an actual script. I've been getting a lot of questions on breaking down the script pretty much and how to memorize the script. Excuse me. So a lot of times when you have the script, for me, the best thing to do is actually print out the hard copy. That way you have it to take notes. You can, put your little marks. Some people like to highlight their lines, things like that. So on the script, there's like different parts. Of course, it's going to be page numbers in case you happen to be clumsy like I am and drop the script. Put it right back into order it goes into. Of course, there are character names and then their dialogue. There's also like scene direction and things like that. One of the big things I want to go ahead and mention is if you are a character, you don't want to be reading two things. You don't want to read everyone's lines, okay? Because I have helped some people with scripts and they would come in and they would be reading, everyone's lines in one voice and then they'd read their own lines in another voice. You don't want to do that. You do want to have a reader. You want to have someone else there to read everyone else's lines so that you can specifically focus on your lines and the acting that goes along with it. Also, you do not want to read any of the directions. So if it says, William walks into the room angrily, you don't want to say, William walks into the room angrily and says, I'm tired of this, or something. You don't want to do that. So don't read any of the directions on the page. Don't read anyone else's lines. You should have a reader there with you. Sometimes, if you're a child, more likely it's going to be one of your parents. But I know some people that don't use their parents, like kids, and it's because, the moms or the dads are just like, it's not for me, I'm not good at it, and I want my child to have the best shot, so they hire someone or they can have a friend do it, things like that. So, yes, you can do it that way. A lot of people even have studios. You can rent and just go straight with them to the studio, meet them at the studio, they'll do all the recording, they'll do all the reading, and that way it's done professionally, it's done on time, things like that. You want to always be on time. That's another thing. But when it comes to the script, like I said, pay attention to your lines. Pay attention. You do want to read the entire script. So I don't want to say don't read the other characters' lines. Don't read the directions. You want to read everything. When you first get that script, read through everything. Just read through it. Just read through it. Not really acting. Just read through it. It's going to give you a little first glance, first sense of the script. So even without trying, you're going to remember at least a little bit of it just from reading it. And then, of course, you're going to want to know when to do certain things. So you're going to know that maybe you're not playing or auditioning for the role of William, but after William says a certain line, then your line comes in. So it's going to give you a sense of the sequence already. And also it's going to give you a sense of the emotion behind the scene, the setting behind the scene, the different things behind the scene. So if it's like a sad scene, and if you just read your lines only and someone else is reading theirs, you're not going to know that, this is a sad scene for you, for your character, or whatever the case may be, because, I don't know, maybe his dog just passed away. So you want to read the direction. That way you get a sense of where you're supposed to be going, what type of acting you should be giving. Is this funny? Is this sad? Is it scary? That way you know how to portray yourself in the scene. So it's very important to read the entire script. Everyone else's lines, scene, description, directions, things like that. Now, when I say read all of it, even people's lines, I don't mean memorize it, okay? You don't have to memorize other people's lines if you don't want to. Me personally, and for my son, he likes to, and I'm okay with that, as long as he realizes don't be saying everyone else's lines, but it helps him to know everyone else's lines. That way he knows exactly where his lines fall in between that, okay? So, and it also helps you keep the emotion. So if you actually know what's going on in the scene and because sometimes in the scene there's like, I don't know, a big section that you're not part of, you're just this whole chunk here you're not in, but you still have to read it because it's not crossed out so you're just reading, but you don't want to get lost. So if you know what's going on and you know what's happening, and then now one of these people from this scene comes over and now they're talking to you, and there was a lot of animosity and hostility over here, so when you come over here, they're not just gonna instantly snap and be, happy or sad or whatever. So you kind of know how you two are gonna interact, and it helps. So yeah, read the entire script. Even for me, sometimes when it's for kids, it's like they cross certain things out. So as the parent, I read the entire script also. And when things are crossed out, sometimes I won't have them read it because it depends on what it is. So if it's like a little kid show, it's probably nothing too crazy. It's just that we're not doing this part right now. But if it's a more of an adult show or an adult movie, it could be scenes that are not meant for kids. And even though it's in the movie, it's not going to be something they're going to be a part of. So it could be crossed out because of that. But if it's not that, when I read through it, I have my son read everything, even the crossed off parts, because how my son says it is, you never know. What if they're like, okay, you know what? Can we do this other part? You know what I mean? And of course, if you didn't read that and they know they crossed it out, so more than likely you don't know it. But it's still a little better, as my son would say, to like be familiar with it. Even if you didn't worry about memorizing it or any of that, you're familiar with it. So then if for some reason they do ask you to read that part that's crossed off, you have a sense of the feeling behind that and the emotion and the scene and the setting and things like that, just in case. And it also helps me, like the script that you usually get for an audition is quite short, right? It's like, I don't know, between 5 to 15 pages tops usually. So it's not nearly the whole movie or the whole episode, right? So these little parts that they cross out can kind of help you better understand what the big picture of the story is. A lot of times they give you like a little synopsis of, hey, this is what the main storyline's about, and this is what your character is about. So that helps. But also anything you can read, like when they send me if it's like a movie audition, usually they send you your audition sides and then also the entire script for the movie. I'll a lot of times read the entire script for the movie so that I can get an understanding to better help my child with auditioning for it. That way you know exactly everything that's going on, you know, like different emotions and how they should be feeling during certain times and what's happening. It kind of just puts all the pieces of the puzzle together. It puts the story together. That way, you know, you can better understand it, which if you can better understand it, you're going to better portray it to your child and they're going to be able to better bring it out. Okay, and it's a better audition for them. So I'll definitely read it all out, but go ahead, read through everything. You don't want there to be anything you're unsure of, or maybe something you're not comfortable with. You know, a lot of times you get a script and you're like, ooh, I don't know if I'm comfortable with this kind of language or my kid saying this kind of language or whatever the case may be, you know. See if things can be substituted. Me personally, if it's in the script, I'll let them do it. As long as, and if it's something I absolutely don't agree with, then we just won't do that job. Because I feel like the person that made the script and the person that's making this movie, they have laid it out the way they want it, right? So either we can do that or we can't. So it's okay to be like, listen, I don't think this is the one for me, as long as you're doing it in a timely manner, letting your agent or manager know, hey, I read through the script, I read through the audition, and I don't feel like this is good for us. And that again comes back to what I said before, of having an understanding of what your manager and agent, having an understanding of what you want. You know what I mean? So if you have that relationship, that rapport, they should be able to be like, I'm not too sure if this is something you're going to be interested in, but I figured I'd go ahead and send it to you and let you make that decision for yourself. Just let me know as soon as you can. Now, with that being said, don't get the audition today. It's due in 2 days. And then now you don't tell them to the morning of due date, like, this isn't for me. You know what I mean? Because there still has to be some type of time frame, professionalism, you know what I mean, to this. So you're allowed to be like, probably not for me, but don't wait around to do that. I've actually been in that situation where I was like, I just didn't have time to go over the script. And my agent did actually say, you know, I don't know if you're going to like this one, but check it out. And I just didn't have the time. It was a busy weekend for us, and it was due Monday morning, and I just had everything going on. It was like everything happened all at once. There was no time for me to sit down and read through 100-some odd pages of this entire movie script to determine if it was okay with us. So since I did wait to the last minute, what I did end up doing is going ahead and just doing the script, and that would have just been something I had to do on my own because I didn't want to burden or, you know, throw someone else off with my own mistakes. They gave me the opportunity to do it the proper way, and I failed. So I went ahead, we did the script, and then we would have just went on from there. But thank God everything worked out with that. But it was something that I wouldn't mind doing in the end when I had time to look over it and things like that. Thank God for that. But don't do that. Don't procrastinate, especially in this business, because we rely a lot on technology. And I'm actually going to do a video on technology, but we rely a lot on that. So we don't know what's going to happen. So now, you know, this audition is due in 2 days, and you wait till that day, that morning of, and it's due like, I don't know, you started at 9 a.m. and it's due at noon, okay? And then for some reason, you're just not liking it. You're watching it afterwards, you're just not liking it, you're not liking it, and you just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. But now it's like 12 p.m., it's due in an hour, and I don't know what you're recording on, but for us, we have to upload to like Google Drive or Dropbox or something like that, then send things over. That's a lot of work. And sometimes things don't move as fast as we want them to. Technology has a mind of its own. So make sure on top of that, you know what I mean? Don't wait till the last minute, don't procrastinate. Because things are here, it is all about timing, you know what I mean? And it's gonna look bad if you're like, oh, I'm late, and then they go like, well, we really, really loved your audition. However, she was really late with it, you know what I mean? And if she's late just for the audition, can you imagine her on set? I can just see it being such a problem, you know? On set, everything is about time. Time is literally money. Like, they're paying for this time. So it's like, you gotta be on the move, you gotta be able to get things done, you gotta be able to hit deadlines, you gotta be able to do things at short notice. It's like, oh, now we're changing the script, here's the script, review it for a little bit, and then let's go out and film it. Like, it's literally like, you know, so they're not looking for somebody that's gonna waste time, because it's really and literally wasting money, okay? So review your script, do it to the best of your ability. There are not much help you can get like on YouTube and stuff like that. But if you need acting coaches, that's a possibility. There's acting coaches who will help you with last minute audition prep, things like that. And there's ongoing lessons, of course. So different things like that. And there's also other things that come into play with the script. So when you're looking at the script, maybe it says there's an accent attached to it. Do you know how to do that accent? And not only do you know how to play around with it, but like, do you genuinely know how to do it? If not, maybe you should look into a dialect coach. Maybe you should determine, is this something you have to do now? Because a lot of times they're like, don't worry about the accent, you know, we're gonna have a dialect coach, whoever books the show or whoever books the movie, right? So you should find that out from your agent or your manager. Is this something I need to do now? I don't see anything about it in the directions, but I do see on the script, it says, you know, whatever accent or whatever location. That's another thing. Sometimes the script will say, like the opening number, like, okay, opening up in New York City streets and da-da-da-da-da. But then you're based in Georgia, so you have to talk to your agent and be like, hey, the script says, you know, the opening of the scene is walking in down the New York City streets. Like, is this in New York? You know what I mean? There's a lot of important information. Or are they just going to film it in Georgia and make it look like New York? You know? Because sometimes you do have to be willing to travel. Out of the state, out of the city, out of the country. I've had to travel out of the country before for something filming. So make sure you're looking into that, because when you say yes to something, you're saying yes to whatever the fee is that they're paying. You're saying yes to the script. You're saying yes to the location. You're saying yes to everything. So don't just bypass these little notes and different things. Read the email fully in its entirety, because I'm sure your agent or manager is sending you like the full synopsis, the full script, the whole breakdown, how they want their slate, everything, right? And then they're going to have a script attached. Read the entire email, literally everything, and then read the entire script. That way you know exactly what you're doing. I like to mark it down on my calendar. I have a special little book I made. I think I'm going to make those books available to you guys soon, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But I mark it down, you know, what's the due date, what's the name of the project, what's the title of the character, or the name of the character, what is it? Is it a movie audition? Is it a TV show audition? Is it a commercial? What is the case, you know? And then also sometimes, depending on how much I've had to put down and how much space I have, I'll write something similar along the lines of like, what is it for? Is it for Disney? Is it for Netflix? Is it a TV show? Is it a feature film? And also a tiny bit of like what the character is. Like, what type of character is this? Is it scary? And is he terrified? Is it a bubbly Disney show? Is it, you know, whatever. That way you can, you know, because sometimes you get like 4 or 5 scripts and you have to keep track. So it's like, okay, I'm working on Huber. Huber is, okay, a scared little boy because of blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Okay, now I'm working on John, and John is a bully. Oh, okay, so that's, you know what I mean? That way you have something to kind of help you keep track of things, when things are due. You never want to be late, you know what I mean, and things like that. So that's my little synopsis on scripts. So yeah, if you have any other questions on scripts, on anything else, on email reading, anything like that, let me know. Now that I'm mentioning these books that I've been using and stuff like that, I've been just making and using for myself, I do think I'm going to put them available to the public very soon. I actually been tossing that idea around lately. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So look out for that. If there's anything else you guys wanna know, please leave comments. Please send me messages. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video so that your friends can have it. If you know anybody looking into joining the industry, send them my way because we are accepting new talent right now. And I just want to go out and say too, like, anyone can do this, okay? Anyone can do this as long as you have the dedication and the means, pretty much, the availability. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about not the type. Everyone's a type. Like, think about it. When you watch TV, does everyone look the same? Same height, same weight, same hair color, same eye color, same skin tone? No. There's always something different, okay? So there are different types. There are the traditional types that you think of. There are character types. There are people who can basically and better play like farm looking, or then there are people that play more scary looking, and then there are people that have like that girl next door look, or whatever the case may be. But there's always a different type needed for different types of roles. So don't ever feel, if it's something you want to do and you think you're genuinely gonna love, do it, okay? Just let me know, send messages. New York City area and surrounding, we're accepting clients. So message us, all right? And thank you guys so much. Let me know what you want to know, leave messages, and I'll see you in the next one.